Hey there folks, how you doing? Welcome to another live stream. And in this live we will be uh, going from Bangkok down to Singapore, and we'll be using the new checklist as before. Bear with me, just need to sort out a couple of things here. It's so much I need to figure out with the actual live stream, but we will get there. So okay, so give you a bit of background then. So if you've not seen many of these live streams, and not many people have at the moment, basically what you can see scrolling past on the right hand side there is a checklist that I've put together for following along with the A320, and to basically what it does, it enables you to have a kind of structured approach to starting the A320 and flying the A320. So the whole idea for the actual stream and the channel is to learn how to do this stuff and provide some tools to make it easier for other people as well. So what we can do then is let's get cracking, because there's a lot to do. If you've watched anybody else do these things, you know it takes ages to get these things started, and basically get going. So what we're going to do then is fill in some of our basic information at the top of the checklist. And things to remember here is that if you refresh the screen, it will actually delete. It doesn't keep it as a constant kind of variable. So the times I've used this, I've not really had to refresh it, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Maybe in the future, if it's required, I'll look at maybe adding it so it saves the state between, sort of going between it into a cookie or something like that. But don't really have the time to get into that at the moment, so perhaps do that in the future. So we're flying from VTBS down to do this in capitals. Where are we going? WSSS. Let's just do the top bit so it looks right. VTBS. So this just gives us an idea or a record of where we're going. So that's quite good. So our transition altitude will be 10,000. And our standard instrument departure. So I've done a bit of groundwork to this. I couldn't find a standard instrument departure out of VTBS, so it's kind of non-standard, the departure that I'm looking at doing. So it's it's just one of those things really. So I wasn't able to figure that out, but in essence we'll be taking off from can I pronounce this, Suvarnabhumi Airport in Bangkok, and we'll pick up the can I go to this? Let me see if I can go to this screen that I'm looking at as well. Yeah, okay, so we can. So we'll pick up the Kikabob, Kilo Indigo Golf Oscar Bravo, and then head on down and out of the area from there. So we'll be taking off 19 left. So so it's non-standard is basically what we'll be doing in this. So, but we probably, let's have a little look here, see what we've got. So it's basically an RNAV departure, but so we don't really have any points from a VOR or anything there, I don't think. So maybe I'm misunderstanding that, but essentially just to remember is that we're going to need to stay below 9,000 feet until we head out to King Bob. I think it is Kigob. Okay, so radio, we can put we'll pick up the radio from ground tower, and that from inside the sim. Okay, so let's get into the cockpit then, and we can start to work our way through some of these items on the actual checklist. So what we want to do now is thrust lever is idle. Engine master switches are all off. So master switches are off, check. The engine mode selector is set to normal, check. Landing gear lever is set down. Landing gear lever is set down. bear with me. Park brake is set as on. Wipers, so we go overhead now. Wipers are both off. Battery voltage is, well, we have voltage. I'm never sure if that's exactly right. So what we can do is set batteries 1 and 2 as on, and we can request the ground power unit, but it is actually available now. So we can switch over to external power. So we now have external power, and we should really wait for the 3 clicks to come, but I'm not actually sure whether I'm getting the sound from Microsoft Flight Simulator, which would be a bit of a shame if I'm not. We'll check that in a minute. So, okay, so we can now do the APU fire test. So this will actually tell us whether that's working. Yeah, we should be getting that sound. Perfect. Okay, APU fire test is done. APU master is on, and APU start is on. There we go. Right, so now we need to go around the cockpit and basically do some of the lights and brightnesses and that kind of thing. So we'll start over here, top left, and bring up the PFD, the navigation display, all the lights down here, although it's going to be fairly light with the time that we're traveling down. So, and we've got the integral lights here as well, and now we need to do the ones below here. Panel at the top, and then go to the overhead, and we want to do the where are we? The integral lights, which is this one here. So then the next one we'll do is just go down to the MCDU and make sure that's nice and bright, so that anybody watching can see what we're actually doing there as well. So ECAM upper lower is done. Okay, right, so we can now tick all these off the checklist as done, and we can go back and start doing the configuration. So once again, parking brake is on. We check this multiple times just to make sure there's no mistakes. Flaps are up, speed brake is down, disengaged. Probe window heat, we go to the overhead and set the pitot probe and nav logo lights. So we zoom in here a little bit, and so nav logo lights are on, and we can then at the same time, where are we, do the APU bleed. Right, next we want to turn on the crew oxygen, which is here. We then now move down to bring alive the address, or address, depending how you want to do that, and that will take some minutes to bring alive. As you can see there, there's nothing really showing at the moment on that. So we want to set the strobe lights to auto. Seatbelts are on, will be, no smoking is auto, and we need to arm the emergency exit. And now we check the lights by pressing, where are we here, the announcer light, and that brings everything to life on the overhead, and we can basically see whether there's any bulbs out or anything like that, and we turn that back to test. And the dome lights we set to dim. Right, anti-icing is required. We can basically go past that, and cabin pressure mode is off. So cabin pressure is off. Ditching is closed, and aircon is required. So we can have that a little bit cooler today on all three. Right, next is packs all on. So packs are on, that's those two buttons there. We want to check batteries are charging okay. So we need to just basically go down to have a look at the electric screen, so we can see whether there's a current or not on the charging, or voltage. So now we can go back to the fuel pumps, which is above, and we want to make sure that all the fuel pumps are indeed on. So that's the fuel pumps on. And now we'll do a fire check on both engines. So fire check engine 1 first. Fire check engine 2. Okay, so now we just scan the electrical panel just to make sure that's okay. Scan the ventilation panel, and basically no white lights. But we do have a couple of faults at the moment, but that's because some things are still coming alive. So on the ECAM pages, we can do some other checks down here. Oh, just go here. We could check the doors at this stage. Everything looks good there. Sides are armed. Hydraulics doesn't work. Engine oil, we can check the quantity, and we'll come back to this as we start. So we're currently showing 25 quarts of oil, and no oil pressure at the moment as expected because the engines haven't actually started. Right, so now we can go to the overhead here, and we can set the barometric pressure. We're going to be on the hectopascals, and we can press B. Oh, we don't want standard at the moment. There we go. And B will give us... okay, that's interesting. Okay, set QNH, which we've done, and we should start to see over here flight directors on. We need next. So that's both flight directors, and we should then see over on the PFD climb and nav and 1FD2 has come alive. We then also want to click constraints so that we can see on the flight plan whether there's any actual constraints tool. ND we want on navigation display one on arc and 10 nautical miles to show us basically the range that will cover our takeoff. VRR and ADF will set in a minute if need be, and the landing system, which is this switch here, is off. Okay, we then need to check whether we've got the managed flight and speed arm, so that's dash dot dash dot. That tells us that we do have that set as on. Altitude increments we want set as 1,000. You do that by changing that there, and our initial height, our initial stop height, will be well, it says below 9,000, so we'll put that in. I'm not sure that's right, but we'll put that. In fact, let's put that as 8,000 because it says below. Okay, so altitude increments, altitude stop is set. PFD brightness we've set, and PFD and ND check. Okay, so we just basically go across and we just check that we expect to see the QNH has set. Our stop height is 8,000 feet, and we have climb nav and 1FD2, and we are registering as 20 feet off the ground at the moment. Okay, standby instruments. We need to go to the center console and bring to life the standby horizon, and at the same time, if we want, we can set the clock, which we're not going to do. Well, we can, let's set the clock going because we can. We need to then make sure that the anti-skid is set, and then we would go to the audio panel, which is here. Check it's on, so that's initialized. We're transmitting on VHF1, and we're receiving frequencies are set. So we can go to the above here, and we can get the first frequency, which is going to be for clearance. So we'll do that in a minute, otherwise we'll have lots of basically people talking in our ears for some time till we're actually ready to go. So interphone will be set and public address is set as well. We now need to make sure that the weather is set to, weather mode is set to WX, which is there, so that's set. We now need to just check the engine switches, centralized aircraft monitor system, switches set to norm. So we do this a couple of times. The switch is set to norm. Engine, we've checked the oil. Hydraulics, no need to check that, and status, no need to check that. So safety checks we go through again. So we make sure that the throttle is set to idle, which it is. Check the engine masters are both off, which they are. Engine mode is set to normal. Spoilers are retracted, disarmed. Flaps are up. Parking brake is set on. ATC, so we'll check that in a minute. and transponder is set to standby. I can see from that it is, but we can go and have another look. So, oh no, it's not. So standby, standby. So far, so good. And the weather system, we now switch to SIS1. Right, so now what we're going to do, I'm just going to fire up some music just while I have a quick drink. It's Thirsty Work, this is. And I'll be back in just a moment. All right, so back with you, and now we're going to set up basically the MCDU and work our way through bringing the flight plan to life. So we're basically going to check, let's go back to the MCDU, and we need to first of all check, where are we? I always get confused with this one. So program, it's not that one, it's not performance, init, data. Right, let's go MCDU, FMCG. Oh, there we are. So that's the first one we need to do, is to check that. Basically, our check we're going to do is to make sure that what type of engines we've got, because we need to know that. So we're on the LEAP 1A26s. So we've checked that. And do we have an active database? Well, it's not actually. Don't think we can change that. So it should be the 28th of February, which is what I'm looking at. But anyway, not much we can do about that. So now we're going to load the flight plan. And to do that, we'll go back to the MCDU. We'll press ATSU and init request. No, follow my instructions. That'd be good. Oh yeah, and then init data request. That's good. Now we press init again, and okay. So let's go. Right. And sometimes this happens. So we go to ATSU again. AOC menu and init, and we'll request the flight plan. So we've done that. Now we need to go to init, and what's actually happened. So if you can see, but there should be another request here. If we go to the flight plan, and all we've got is the start to finish without any routes or anything in between. So it's good this happened, so we can talk through what we need to do to fix that. So if we go back to the MCDU and flight plan, MCDU, ATSU, AOC menu, and init, I think it is. No, init. Here we are. So just init. So what we need to do is basically put in a dummy EGHF, which is my home airport, and EGKK. All right. So now we submit that, and what that does is clear. We check that again. So let's put that in. Now, what we need to do is go back to the menu, and hopefully this will work this time. So go back to init request, and what we're doing here is requesting the flight plan from SimBrief. So request the data. Right. So that's done that part. Now we go to init. This is a bit we were missing last time, the init request. And doing this actually then fills in the rest of the flight plan, which we'll have a look at in a minute. What we can do is go to our, let me just see if I can swap this over to have a look at what the, don't think I can do this. Let's have a look. There we go. Right. Okay. So this is my SimBrief flight plan. And what we're saying, the cost index for this one is 40. So we can now put that in. So 40. And that'll be the cost index. Oh, no. Clear. 40. And cost index. There we go. So that's that part done as well. Okay, so now we can go back to the iPad and checklist. Okay. So we've done that, and what we'll now do is just go to check the route according to the flight plan. That's the thing to do. So press flight plan, and you can see now that basically what we've got is all the intersections have been added as well. So that takes us out of Bangkok via Samba to Kilo Indio Golf Oscar Bravo, and then our onward journey takes us on and down to Arama arrival into WSS Singapore. So that's all seems to be as expected. So that's good. So we've checked the route, so we can tick that off. And the other thing to make a note of in your mind is 844 miles is the distance as well, because it gives you a good sort of idea of what's going on there. Right, so according to my flight plan, which I won't pull up because there's not too much to look at here at the moment. So I just need to have a look. So passengers, we're packing 173 today. So we'll add this to the notepad as well. Payload is 18 exactly, but we'll put the decimal in because we can. Fuel should be something around 9.5. Takeoff weight, we should expect something around 71.1. Landing aircraft weight is 65.4. And the thing about that is that, so if our takeoff weight is 71.1, we have to be at 65.4 to land because of the weight restrictions, I guess. So that would mean the difference is the amount of fuel we should have used, or in an emergency, I guess we'd have to actually get rid of that amount of fuel if that were still on board. Okay, so now we're going to move on to doing the weight and balance. Let's just get rid of the keyboard. And what we need to do for this is go to the MCDU, ATSU again, AOC menu, and we're going to go performance, weight and balance, which is this one, and request the fuel load, which there's not really a lot of point in doing that, to be honest, because it doesn't seem to work. And we can request the payload as well. So, well, in fact, actually the payload is about right, 18.048, and it should be, if we just have a look, why it's worth making a note is 18 off the flight plan. And if we go back to the fuel page, it's come up with 9.5. So actually, I tell a lie, calling in the weights and the payload from this button, these buttons here, seems to have worked. But, however, that doesn't distribute the weight in the aircraft reliably. So what we can do is have, if we go to the weight and balance, you can see the fuel actually has come in okay, 9.5. So we'll leave that as is. But the payload is 9,194, and it should be 18. So 18 is good because it's easily divisible by 2. So as you can see, the payload is distributed amongst all these things: pilot, co-pilot, business class, forward baggage, etc. What we're going to do, just for ease, because it's very hard to get this selector to set exactly as you want, we're going to select this, select the amount in pilot and delete it. Then the next one we're going to delete, select all and delete. My keyboard's just decided to lose one of its legs. There we go. Sorry. Then again, in business class, we're going to get rid of that. Forward baggage, we're going to put in 9,000. And that will take us over, but that's fine. And we're going to get rid of the baggage in economy class. And then in rear baggage, we're going to put another 9,000 kilos in there. Right, okay, good. Look, you can then see that we've now got 18,000 in payload, and our fuel is 9.5, which is exactly what we're looking for. And our center of gravity is 22.77. So that all looks basically pretty good. So we'll come out of there, and we can now go back to our checklist, and we can see that forward fuel we've done, rear fuel we've done, weight and balance fuel is done, forward baggage, rear baggage, and weight and balance sliders are done as well. Okay, we now need to go to init again, and we now need to go across to the right one page, and we click 0 fuel weight once, and it comes up at the bottom, so we can see 22.8, which is what we had, and then we commit that into the computer. We can then confirm the block confirm. Let me just go back. So the fuel, so for the trip, we need 5.669 and a contingency of 6. So I can see, okay, so I can see where they've got that from. So I'm not absolutely certain that's right, because my fuel says to me that I need 9.5, as you remember we wrote down earlier on. Where is it? Yeah, 9.5. So what we're going to do here is put 9.5. Oh dear. Clear that. 9.5, and we'll pop that into the block fuel. Okay, that's fine. So it's changed our weight. And let's just see what that's done to the weight and balance here, if anything. So we're 18 and 9.5 is still the same. So that doesn't actually change that. So that's fine, because that's how the sim's actually going to be flying. So that's good. Okay, so that's that fuel done. So the basically on this next section on the checklist, there's an option to jump over to the online weight and balance calculator for the A320, but we're not going to do that this time. What we're going to do is pull in basically the information from the aircraft's computer. So what we do now is go to the performance tab, and we put the flaps in for the flight. So we're going to go one up. So how we do this is we put 1 / clear 1, and enter that for the flaps. And then for the next part, we do /up 1.0. And then that will put everything past the slash to the right of the flap settings. Our flex temp we're going to put in as 65 as a round number. I'd say we could have calculated that, but we haven't. But we'll call in our speeds by clicking this twice. Once to call it up into the scratch pad here, and then another one to commit it. So VR is 136 and V2 is 140. So that's pretty much what we need to worry about there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go back to the McDo, go to the ATSU menu, and just following with the checklist on the right hand side there, we're going to call up the ATIS. So we're going to get a weather request in, and we want the weather for the departure here. So we'll wait for a company message to show here. That shouldn't take too long. Did I press send? Let's go back to the MCDU, and what we might need to do is press send. Then it says sent there. It's an easy mistake to not actually do that time and time again. Okay, so watching here then for a company message to come up. And while we're here, look, we can see that the nav's come alive, which is good news as well. Okay, so what we can then do is we go back to AOC menu and receive messages. So we've got this, which is the most recent one, and we'll print that as well. There we go. Pop that there. Pop that over. So what have we got then? So 190 at 9 knots. So that's what we're expecting. 0/9. Also QNH, that should be in there. The QNH is 1010. 010. The temperature is 27 degrees. That's warm. Just when you use the temperatures in the UK. And the wind is 040. Oh, sorry, let's get the right one. 1909 knots. And the temperature here, which I took down wrong, I think, is 27. So it's basically roughly the same at both locations. Okay, and we're going to be doing runway 19 left. Okay, and we will get the ATIS in a minute because we need the number. So in fact, we could, let's do that now. Let's tune the ATIS. I don't normally do that because you end up with the guy or the person. Right, let's get the ATIS 127260.
Victor Tango Bravo Sierra Airport information Alpha 04000. Wind 271 at 7. Visibility 9er. feet. Temperature 15. Dew point 13. QNH 19er right and runway 19er left. DSR aircraft, say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller, on initial contact, you have Bravo. Victor Tango Bravo Sierra Airport information Bravo 04000.
Okay, not sure what's happening with the volume controls there, but
Niner. Sky condition, few clouds at 2,500
let's see if we can carry on.
Temperature 15. Dew point 13. QNH 29er
Right, okay.
2. ILS Yankee runway 19er right and ILS Yankee
Where?
runway 19er left in use. Landing and departing runway 19er right and runway 19er left. DSR aircraft, say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller, on initial contact, you have Bravo.
Okay, so that's what we
Tango
wanted.
Bravo
So
Sierra
we
Airport
have Bravo.
information Bravo 04000. Wind 271 at 7. Visibility.
So we're tuned ground at the moment,
Sky condition.
and
Few clouds at
that should keep things a bit
2,500
quieter.
feet. Temperature 15. Dew point 13. QNH 29er decimal 9er 2.
Come on,
ILS Yankee runway 19er right and ILS Yankee runway 19er
I don't
left
know
in
what's
use.
happening here with the...
Landing and departing runway 19er right and runway 19er left. DSR aircraft, say direction of flight.
Right, okay, so maybe that's... Turn that off now. Right, okay, not sure what was happening there, so we'll plod on. So the altimeter we now need to set as 1010. So there we go. And now we need to request our clearance. So we'll go over to we're on radio. And now we want to go back to clearance and tune clearance and request IFR clearance.
Clearance delivery BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 ready to copy IFR clearance to Singapore.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 is cleared to Singapore Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 19 or left climb and maintain 6,000 feet. Departure frequency is 119 or decimal 25 squawk 0567.
Okay, so we'll acknowledge that.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha
So standby
7055 cleared to
instruments.
Singapore Airport is filed. Takeoff runway 19 or left climb and maintain 6,000 feet. Departure on 119 or decimal 25 squawk 0567.
So because they're two separate systems, you need to set both.
Contact ground on 121.9 or 5.
Okay, radio set check. Anti-skid is on. And set brakes to maximum auto brakes. Flaps are set 1 as entered into the system. Speed brakes are armed. I'm not quite sure, but we seem to have a bit of an echo as well, so sorry about that. Not quite sure what's happening with the sound. I didn't touch anything in case it goes off again. Flight controls we need to check. So flight controls, and we can check that we've got full deflection on all surfaces, which we have. And now we need to set the pitch trim, which we want to be 1 up, which we've set. Rudder trim we need to make sure is reset. And auto thrust will come in once we take off. Check that the flight directors are on. ILS is not on. Anti-ice as required. FMC cleanup. So basically we just want to make sure that we go back to the flight plan here and that the first point is shown there. So okay, and we would now ask for chocks to be removed. So next step is cabin crew, which I think is this one. Need to get on top of that. External power we no longer require. Check the engine areas are clear. What we haven't done, I missed that, is the beacon goes on. Very important. I ticked it, but I didn't do it, because that tells people that we're actually going to be starting the engine. So engine mode set to 1. And we'll have our display set to engines as well, so that we can see exactly what's happening there. So engine mode set to ignition, and we'll now turn on engine 2. Right, as we can see, we might not be able to see, but I can zoom in. Our engine is coming alive. N2 is running up, so is N1. So we're looking for 60 on N2 and about 20 on N1. So we can jump ahead a little bit while that's coming alive. We can make sure that the probe window heat is on. Can't really go much further than that actually. Engine anti-ice we won't do. Okay, coming up to 40 now, so soon to be able to start engine 2 as well, or engine 1, but the second engine. Okay, 58 and 19, so happy with that. So we'll now fire up engine 2 as well. And engine 2 is on. What we do need to check though is, while the second engine is firing up, is the oil pressures. So the oil pressure is climbing, so that's good. And engine 1 is spooling up quite nicely. Almost there. So while this is just, we're doing the engine start, good thing to do is have a look outside, because when the engines are fired up, there's always a good chance that you're actually going to be moving and you don't want to be. There we go, 58 and 19 for N2 and N1 respectively. So we can go back to our checklist and tick off those two. The engine is started as expected. So now back to the overhead, and we want APU bleed off and APU master off. So we're now running under our own steam. Okay. What we want to do now is request taxi. So looking out the window, call the radio, and so where are we? Feedback is correct. Contact ground on 121, so we want to 121900, and request taxi IFR.
Ground BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 with Bravo ready to taxi IFR.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 taxi to and hold short of runway 19 or left via taxiway Tango 1 Charlie Charlie 2 Bravo Bravo 1. Contact tower on 118.2 when ready.
So we'll get a say again on that so that we can get the taxi.
Ground BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 say again.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 taxi to and hold short of runway 19 or left using taxiway Tango 1 Charlie Charlie 2 Bravo Bravo 1. Contact tower on 118.2 when ready.
Right, okay, so what I'm going to do is just pull up my taxi routes and have a look. Okay, and just, I'm going to call that back again.
Ground didn't copy, please repeat for BA
And I'll share
7055
with you.
Bravo Alpha 7055.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 taxi to and hold short of runway 19 or left via taxiway Tango 1 Charlie Charlie 2 Bravo Bravo 1. Contact tower on 118.2 when ready.
Okay, so we can acknowledge that now. So basically on the screen, you can see we're going to come from where we are, which is by T3, Tango 1, Charlie, Charlie, Bravo and Bravo 1 to the hold area. So it's quite a short taxi in effect. So that's good news. Okay. All right, so that's us done. And so we requested taxi. Now,
Did you hear my last transmission?
sorry, should acknowledge the taxi clearance. Right.
Taxiing
So-
hold short runway 19 left via taxiway Tango 1 Charlie Charlie 2 Bravo Bravo 1 BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055.
what I didn't do, should have pushed back before I started the engines. That's okay. So what we now need to do is request a pushback. Let's go to ground services and request pushback. So we've got a truck there, so that's
Ground
one
BA
thing.
7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 requesting pushback.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 pushback request accepted.
So we need to go to the right.
Ground BA
Sorry about the
7055
echo, but I've
Bravo
got a problem
Alpha
with one of the
7055
microphones, and I
requesting
don't try and
pushback.
fix it because it
Steer
probably
the
won't
aircraft
work.
to the right.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, your request has been transmitted to the operator.
Okay. One of the things we might need to do, because I'm not doing this as I expected to, is to take the brake off, because that will help. Oh no! Who put the truck there? Disaster. Okay, so shortly to ask for pushback straight onto the yellow.
Ground BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 requesting pushback to push the aircraft straight.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, your request has been transmitted to the operator.
Okay, so we'll request pushback stop. It's not exactly perfect,
Ground
but
BA
that's okay.
7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 requesting the end of pushback.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 request to
Okay,
end
feet on the
pushback
brakes.
received.
Back to the checklist. Feet on the brakes. On the overhead. So nose light set to taxi. And foot brakes off. And gradually increase. There we go. Let's just get rid of that for a moment. Okay, so we are right here. For Charlie 1. What we do is, as per the checklist, check the brakes, flight controls, so this should be Charlie, or Charlie 1. So as we're doing this, so we're then doing other checks as we go along. So we're checking that we are managed on the autopilot. So flight controls are checked. Dashboard. Weather radar is set to on, which is here, I believe. Keep looking out the window because it's so easy to go awry. Engine instruments we want to check. Engine, all temperatures good. Engine instruments as expected. Nav instruments as check. Brakes are set to max. Climb. 140 rotate. And 1FD, 1FD. 6,000 is the initial stop height. Autopilot is ready. Cabin check. Pedal brakes. Okay, ready to get to the point where we line up. So you can see there, this is Charlie now. So we've come from Charlie to So what I've learned is that the drone, the instruments, the controls don't work when looking at using the drone. Very strange. There we go. Rudder's back in control now. Let's just ease off a little bit here just to make sure that I can see where I'm going. Okay. So we can hear the was Charlie 2. So that's here. Charlie 2 just to the left there. And round to the right here. And according to the checklist, we're shortly to call for departure clearance. And now we're back on to Bravo. And hold short at Bravo 1. So this looks like Bravo 1. Just check. Yep, absolutely. So runway 19 left, and we're holding short at Bravo 1. Brakes on, brake temperatures check. So what we can do here is go here, go to wheels, and check the brake temperatures. So we're good. And the reason I check that now is because they almost caught fire the other day. Okay, let's request takeoff. Back to clearance. Tune tower. Request takeoff.
Tower BA
So far so good.
Bravo Alpha 7055 ready to go runway 19 or left IFR to Singapore.
While we're getting that, we want landing lights set to on.
7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 cleared for
Runway.
takeoff runway 19 or
Turn
left.
off lights. So we're cleared takeoff, and we want to go back to status, takeoff config. Come on, press. There we go. So no blues, so all good.
7055 please acknowledge.
Takeoff memo, all green. Acknowledge the clearance.
Cleared for takeoff runway 19 or left BA 7055
At this point,
Bravo
depending where we are, we might also put on the terrain radar, which is not too bad, I don't think, here, but we'll have it on anyway. Check for bird strikes, and we'll then basically check our takeoff. So we're going to head below 6,000 feet to Samba. But we'll just check that is in, yeah, it's a VTBS below 6,000 feet. 19 miles to Samba, and then we'll head off to Kigop, I think that is. Right, okay, we're in a good position to clear for takeoff runway, and departure brief is done. So now we want basically packs off, we need the power. Strobe light goes to on. Nose light goes to takeoff. Transponder set to, oh, sorry, not the transponder, yeah, so let's just zoom in here. So we're basically set to on, all reporting, and TCAS set to TARA. Rudder trim, we'll check once more just to check that it's straight. All right, it's time to go, people. Brakes off. And we'll line up. And then we'll call up 40% on the throttle. On the brakes. Stand by for takeoff. %. Full power. Watching the monitors and set the chronograph. Right, to pay attention now, off the checklist. Find the plane. 100 knots. Ease back on the yoke or stick. 140 and up we go. Positive rate climb. Gear up. Flaps up. Let's just get rid of that terrain. We don't need that. 700 feet, and we now need to head 195. In fact, what we'll do, we'll pop on the autopilot and we'll come back to climb thrust.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, acknowledge last transmission.
Alright, so we'll just acknowledge that transmission, otherwise it will go on forever.
119.25 BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 705.
Okay, so we're climbing to 6,000 feet on our way to waypoint Samba. Right, check the list. Chrono is set, brakes. We didn't touch the brakes, we came up, that's not a problem. What we need to check though is that auto thrust is enabled, or Arthur, as I like to call it. Speed brake retracted, disarmed. Keep looking out to make sure that we're on track. So flaps are up. Okay, so far so good. There we go, we're 6,000 feet and 10 miles to run until Samba. Sierra Alpha, Mike Bravo Alpha, at which point we'll turn 149 degrees. Right, so on the climb out then, landing gear up is checked, flaps are checked. If we could, we would set the weather radar to tilt down. And let's check that the autopilot is on. Speed, we want below 250 or below, which we are. Auto brakes should be off at this point. Auto brakes are off. ATC, right, we just check in, tune departure. Contact departure.
Departure BA
6 miles to run until
7055
Samba.
Bravo Alpha 7055 is at 7,900 feet, descending 6,000 feet.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 departure. Continue to Sombra as planned. QNH
Yeah, somehow we've gone
29
over
decimal 902.
the 6,000 feet. Not sure why. We've got the QNH set right. Right, so continue to Samba as planned. So I think what we should do, yeah. So I think we need to stay below 9,000. So we'll stay where we are. Control don't seem to be upset with me. Okay, so in the overhead then, we need to make sure that the APU master is off. Nose light comes off.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055. Please expedite your descent to 6,000 feet.
Ah, right, so she's a little bit stressed about that.
7055 contact Bangkok Center on 120.
And we are descending now to 6,000. Strange, don't know why that did that. Okay, runway turn off lights are done, and then we can put the packs on for the passengers and anti-ice as required. I think we're fine. Time out, cabin crew. ND range is now set to 40. That's the navigation display range, so. Okay, so we've turned at Samba and we're now heading out to Kigob. So far so good. And what we can do, tune Bangkok Center. Haven't really had a chance to look out the window, have we? But this is mainly, these kind of live streams at the moment are mainly about the kind of procedural approach to flying as I kind of learn how to do this, and it's coming together now. That was a reasonably clean takeoff. So we're 6,000 feet, and now let's contact center and we'll see if we can get another height change. So according to my flight plan, we should be able to head up to 12,900. Let's request an altitude increase, so we're at 6, so we want... Ah, we got 13,000 feet, that's good. So back in the cockpit then.
13,000 feet, BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055.
And what I need to do, of course, is pull that down, don't I, to activate that. There we go. So that's good. And coming up to what we're now doing, you can see the little pink dart shows us coming up to Kigob. Kilo India Golf Oscar Bravo. And you can then see that what we'll do from there is, let's go back to the flight plan. Flight plan, go up here. I think we need to set flight plan. And we go back down here. We can just tick our way through. All the way down and into WSS. So far looking good. So we've got key is, let's have a look on the displays. Go back to ARC. Bhutan, I guess that is Butte. Bravo Uniform Tango. As we're making a turn, is now 29 miles away. So we're climbing 10,000 feet through to 13,000 feet. And what we'll do in a minute for Butte is request 25,000 feet. So we can do that now actually. So back to the radio. Busy, isn't it? Always so much to do. So we're going to be at 13 and we want 25. I would request a 10,000
Bangkok Center BA
increase.
7055 Bravo Alpha 7055. Request flight level 230.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055.
Right, so one of the things we need to do now,
Maintain 13,000 feet. Expect flight level
pull to
230.
these. Why am I not where I think we should be? Oh, I see. We're just going over the... Bear with me. I'll see if I can show you what I'm looking at.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055. Did you hear my last transmission?
Right, okay. Confirm the end off instruction.
Climb and maintain 13,000 feet. Expect flight level 230.
So we can expect 23,000 feet
Bravo Alpha 7055.
on the standard altitude.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055. Climb and maintain flight level 230.
There we go. So we got 2-3. So we can now climb up to 2-3. Get some decent height. And we need to pull that.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055. Acknowledge last transmission.
Yeah.
Climb and maintain flight level 230. BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055.
Right, so far so good. Right, so we've got the speed is now showing as Mach 0.59, and I get a little bit confused about what we can do here. So in terms of speed, I don't know whether the it's managed, so I'll leave that as it is, and once we level off it should increase, so that's okay. So landing lights go off. And retracted. Anti-ice as required. Fasten seatbelts can come off. Don't know why that no smoke. Oh, there we go. Keep no smoking on. ND range we changed to 80 now. And speed check, no more than 300 knots, I believe, at this stage. Right, let's have a look outside. So we're currently over... Oh, I don't know where that is. Right, let's get a little bit of music on in the background. Okay, so we're climbing up to cruise, and we've got about another 10,000 feet to go for that. And once we get there, we'll have some more checks. So I'll just leave you with a bit of music, and I'm going to go make a cup of tea.
Bangkok Center BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055. Request flight level 290.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 climb and maintain flight level 290.
Climb and maintain flight level 290 BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055. Bangkok Center BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055. Request flight level 340.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 climb and maintain flight level 340. BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055. Did you copy?
Climb and maintain flight level 340 BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055.
Okay. Back with you just briefly to do a few bits of housekeeping. And then I'll have a couple of minutes away and then I'll be back. Lots to talk about. And we'll go through some of the new features of the checklist, all that kind of thing. And some of the things I'm trying to bring into the stream, but needs a bit of work. But yeah, so we're basically at cruise height now. And we need to do some housekeeping. First thing, we need to just make sure that obviously the engines, we get rid of that piece of paper now. Oh no, don't do that. Right, okay, so engine monitor. So everything seems to be right there. Pressures are good, no warnings. Comms, we know that we're talking to Bangkok Centre, and we've got our climb approval to 34,000 feet, which we're just arriving at. So that's good. We can check the nav and autopilot. So everything seems to be going. We do seem to be pretty close to overspeed, but I think it's fairly stable. So 0.779 is about right for the max speed for the cruise for this aircraft, and we are in cruise. Auto throttle is on, standard barometer setting, so that's all good. And next thing to do is to have a look at the fuel. And okay, so fuel used. Just check this is counting down or up. So we have fuel on board 83. Yeah. So 1080 used. And I think it wasn't.
Contact Bangkok Center on 123.905.
So we actually had. Where was it? 9.5 of fuel. So does. Yeah, so that makes sense. So it's counting down. Yeah, that's good. Right, so we've got a radio message coming in. We need to acknowledge the handoff.
Going to 123.905 BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055.
Okay, done. So now we can come back down to the cruise section of the checklist. And just continue our checks. So fuel, we're happy that everything's working as expected there. Nav accuracy, this is something we need to do a couple of stages of the flight. So we go to the McDo, check program, and GPS primary is working and high accuracy, so we're pretty sure that we are where we think we are. And cabin temperature, so let's have a look. We'll have it just a bit cooler. And check. So that's pretty much everything that we need in the cruise checklist. What we can do actually, while we're just thinking about it, we can go to the McDo Atsu and let's get a weather request for the arrival. I'll just get rid of that one. And go back to AOC menu and receive messages. So still on, although we've just had the new one come in. Check that you are looking at the most recent one. So a few clouds at 2,000 feet. Temperature's about the same, and it's wind is 210 knots. Okay, so. And we are expecting to be landing on 20. Sounds good. Fairly straightforward. Contact Bangkok Centre. Didn't do that.
Bangkok Center BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 flight level 340.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 Bangkok Center. Continue to take as planned.
So we acknowledge that. Oh, we don't have to actually. So that's good. All is going well.
Bravo Alpha 7055, acknowledge last transmission. BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, please acknowledge. BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 IFR flight plan is canceled. Radar service terminated. Squawk 7000. Maintain VFR. Frequency change approved.
over center BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 to 8 miles southwest of Trenton to request IFR to Singapore, ready to copy.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 is cleared to Singapore Airport as filed. Squawk 0567.
All right, folks. So back with you now, and let's get on top of some things. So 0567.
Please acknowledge.
Acknowledge the IFR clearance. I think we lost it between the different zones there.
To Singapore Airport as filed. Squawk 0567.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha
turn the music down a bit there.
7055, read that correct. Radar contact flight level 340. Continue to Victor Papa Kilo
Oh,
turning and
spot
following
the aero look.
160
That should have been set
Yellow
back to norm.
navigation descent and maintain flight level 290.
All right, let's acknowledge. Descend and maintain 290.
Continue to Victor Papa Kilo turning and following heading 160. Resume on navigation, descend and maintain flight level 290 BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055.
Okay, so we need to start planning for the arrival now. So let's go back to our checklist view, and so I've done some of the bits and pieces, programming it in, but not all of it. So right, what we need to do then is I've reviewed the approach plate, so I've got that sorted, and what we now need to do is basically I've put in a couple of the VORs, which you can see in the navigation display at the moment, but they obviously won't come into play yet because it's too far away. Right, so now what we need to do is we need to enter the destination data. So that was probably showing, it wasn't showing on the ECAM. We need to go to the flight plan, and we basically go to the end here and choose the arrival, and we are coming in on the 02 left, and we'll do the oh, it's not there. Why is that then? So I'm expecting the Arama 1A arrival. Ah, maybe. Raise. Let's try again. So we've got the Arama arrival there.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 descend and maintain 17,000 feet.
Descend and maintain 17,000 feet BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055.
Okay, so that's that done. Now let's just double check this again. So coming in, arrival, what other choices have we got? So definitely ILS. So we'll have to go with that. 2 left. Is there a transition? None. Ah, there it is. Aram. Is it the Aram 1A? Okay, and insert. So if we now go to the flight plan.
Okay, fine, I said hi, but I did not say goodbye. What do you want?
Yeah, okay, so we've now got Bobag.
Don't be mad, I'll be sad. I get drunk so quick
Let me
it's
just have a
bad.
look at the arrival for that.
But thanks
Okay, so I can pull this up on the screen, I think, as well. So you can see, so we got the Arama into Bobag, and then Samco, and then we'll pick up the approach from Samco, Enuma, and Akipo into the airfield. So quite happy with that. So we now know that that's exactly as expected. So the airfield is 56 feet above sea level, I think, by the look of it. So we're going to be... So for Enuma, actually let's go back to the arrival. Hang on. So we say 10,000 feet at Arama. Yeah. Terrible feeling this might all get away from me, but let's see.
what goes through your mind when you leave with no goodbyes. So many random people that I don't even like. There's Tommy, there's Taryn. I'm winking, I'll give a nudge. They're different of mine since you. They will not hold a grudge. No. They call them Irish goodbyes. There's no taking time, no standing in line. We just head to the back and we fly. And when they realize it's late in the night, they're asking, oh, why did he leave? What do you want? That's my style. Why don't you stay for a while? Irish goodbye. Why don't you stay? They call them Irish goodbye. Why don't you stay? They call them Irish goodbye. Why don't you stay? They call them Irish goodbye.
Right, okay, so we're descending nicely. What do we need to do then? So we need to go back to the checklist. I was hoping to use the top of descent calculator, but I don't think we need to use it today, which is a bit of a shame. So radio nav is set. Yeah, we do need to check that the rad nav has picked up the ILS, which it has, 110. 110.9. Let me just check that on the approach plate. Yeah, that's fine. So that's all done. Approach speed, go around distance. We've got when we approach, we climb 1,000 feet, turn left 4,000 feet. So that's quite straightforward. Descent calculator. Right. So what we need to do now is set TCAS to below. ATIS, we might be able to tune in. Let's have a look.
CA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 descend and maintain 13,000 feet.
Okay, so we've given 13,000 feet now. Okay, good. We're heading down. That's good. Altimeter is set.
7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, please acknowledge.
Yeah, no
Descend and
instruction.
maintain
Radios
13,000
will
feet
set
VA
because we're going to take it
7055
from
Bravo Alpha 7055.
Yeah, we'll use Microsoft Flight Simulator for the radio, so that's all good. So we're on our way quite nicely down to 13,000 feet. What we want to check here, so on past initial descent, what we'll do actually is go back to the, bring that in now, I think, and let's go back to ARC. Okay, let me just check my flight plan on SimBrief. So, Padley, where's Padley? Okay, Padley. So from Padley we'll have remaining distance is 209 miles. So according to my flight plan, we would have been staying at cruising height of 35,000 feet. Right, so our altimeter is set, our barometers are set, and we're going to check the navigation accuracy at this stage. Program navigation is still high, so we can be quite confident that we are where the computer's telling us we are actually. ND range we can set to 40 now. That's below 10,000, so we'll leave that for a moment.
Bravo Alpha 7055, contact Kuala Lumpur Center on 126.1. BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, did you hear my last transmission? BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, did you hear my last transmission? BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, please acknowledge. BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, IFR flight plan is canceled, radar service terminated. Squawk 7000. Maintain VFR. Frequency change approved.
Kuala Lumpur Center BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 705527 miles southeast of Kuantan. Request IFR to Singapore, ready to copy.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 is cleared to Singapore Airport as filed. Squawk 0567.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 cleared to Singapore Airport as filed. Squawk 0567.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, read that correct. Radar contact 13,000 feet. QNH 29.2 continue to pass returning and following heading 155, proceed on course descent and maintain 13,000 feet.
Continue to paddling, turning and following heading 155, resume on navigation, descend and maintain 13,000 feet. BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055.
Right, so still above 10,000, so not really much we can do at the moment in terms of other things to do. We just keep ahead of the aircraft. Always good to make sure that we check the engines, so we'll do that now. So fuel used, we've used basically 2,600 kilograms, and fuel remaining 6-7 fuel on board, so plenty of fuel. Engine temperatures are all fine. So look at the, actually if we come up here and do that, click engine, we can check the PSIs as well. We can, not a bad idea just to check that the Everything's right in the undercarriage compartment, I guess. Okay, so speed will be slowing down to get below 10,000 in a moment.
Kuala Lumpur Center BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 would like to change destination to Singapore.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 is cleared to Singapore Airport as filed. Squawk 0567.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 cleared to Singapore Airport as filed. Squawk 0567.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 read that correct. Radar contact 13,000 feet. QNH 29.9 to continue to PU090 turning and following heading 155 resume on navigation descend and maintain 7,000 feet.
Okay, so we're going to come down to 7,000 feet now. Come off of standard. And we're on 29902, which is
BA 7055
1013.
Bravo Alpha 7055. Did you copy?
Acknowledge the instruction.
Continue to PU090 turning and following heading 155 resume on navigation descend and maintain 7,000 feet. BA 7055 Bravo Alpha
So coming up to
7055.
PU90. And that leaves us 192 miles to run.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055. Please expedite your descent to 7,000 feet.
Okay, so we're being asked to expedite that. What's the reason for that then? Oh, I see. So we didn't actually activate that. Go down. So far, so good. So below, back to our checklist then.
7055. Please expedite your descent to 7,000 feet.
So we are heading down to 7,000 feet now. Right, back to the checklist then. So descent, ND range set to 10 or 20. I'm not sure we need 10 or 20 at the moment, but we can actually come down to what's that? That's 40, so that'll be fine. Cabin crew, we can do 10 minutes. so what we do need is the ATIS check. So the ATIS for here is 128025. So let's just change over to that. We haven't got into doing that much of the radios, to be honest. 128 and 025. So we can't be within range yet then. Disappointing. What we can do though is, I guess, we can put in a weather request in the MCDU. So ATSU AOC weather request, the destination, and send. Then go back to receive messages. And you should have one that says new next to it when it arrives. There we go. Okay, so let's print that. Did it go there? I think it did. Okay, so what we now need to do is to go to performance, next phase. So we need to set the QNH, which is going to be to make sure that you're getting the right one. So it's the bottom 1012.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, you are 700 feet below your assigned altitude. Climb and maintain 7,000 feet. QNH 29.902.
Ah, well spotted, look. So basically, sloppiness, there we go. Put in 1,000 less than what we actually needed. So let's acknowledge that instruction.
Climb and maintain 7,000
Okay, so
feet.
1012.
7055
So what we
Bravo
can do
Alpha
is
7055.
okay. 1012 is set now. And we're turning as expected. Right, temperature is 27. Wind is going to be 030 at 7 knots. Put that in there. 30 degrees, 7 knots. Missed approach height is 222. Okay, and go around height is initial 1,000 feet. So, clear one. Okay, that's good. Back in the cockpit, see what's happening. So according to my flight plan, we're coming up to checkpoint is VO08? Oh, VJB. And that should be VJB is 107 miles to run. After that, and for Arama, we need to be below 10,000, I believe. Or above 10,000. That's crazy. So we're being vectored in. Completely different to what the approach says. Never mind. Right, so let's do it. We've done our checks. We've got the information in, although we haven't got the ATIS. We have got the ATIS in effect. APU sets required. Spoilers armed and up. Auto brakes set low medium. Flaps as required, so we don't need any of that at the moment. So a little bit of a way out, but we can arm the landing system, I guess. No harm there. Don't know what that means. Have to look that up actually. Let's do that now. LVR AS Y out. It's got to do with symmetry, surely. Flight mode enunciations. Here we go.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, you are 47 miles north. Maintain present heading at altitude. Expect VOR DME runway
Okay.
20 center
So
approach via nylon transition.
this is interesting. So there's a thrust lever is not in line. Look at that. It's true. And now that's gone. Right, let's check that radio message again. So 47 miles to run. Uh, 47 miles to run. Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect VOR DV runway
7055. Did you copy?
20C. Approach via nylon transition. Select another runway for landing.
Please stand by BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, roger. BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, acknowledge last transmission.
Stand by BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, roger.
Stand by BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, roger.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 would like ILS runway 2 left approach vectors to final.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, you are 35 miles northwest. Maintain present heading and altitude, expect vectors ILS runway 2 left approach. Circle to land runway 20 right.
Maintain present heading and altitude, expect vectors ILS runway 2 left approach, circle to land runway 20 right. BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, contact Singapore approach on 126.3.
Going to 126.3 BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055.
Okay, so we will put the landing system on now. Runway turn-off lights need to be on. Localizer taxi lights need to be on. There we are. So our first constraint is telling us that we need to be below 10,000 feet, so we can check that now. We're at 7,000 feet, so quite happy with that. And then once we get there, we'll turn to be below 6,000 feet and 190 knots. And then we'll start to configure from there. So ILS checked in the PFD, and it's there. Landing system is on. Cabin check. Go around altitude is set. Speed, we are 220 knots. Approach mode can go on once we get to Arama, I think. Maybe we don't put the localize on. I think we'll pick up the ILS on the way from Arama.
Kuala Lumpur Center BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 70557 7000 feet.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 Kuala Lumpur Center. Continue as planned. UNH 29.902. Bravo Alpha 7055 contact Singapore Center on 123.7.
123.7 VA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055. Singapore Center BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 70557 7,000 feet.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 Singapore Center. Continue as planned. QNH 29.902. BA7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 contact Singapore approach on 126.3.
Going to 126.3 BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055. Singapore approach BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 is at 5,000 feet, climbing 7,000 feet.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 Singapore approach, continue as planned. QNH 29.902. BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055, you are 22 miles southwest of Singapore. Descend and maintain 3,500 feet. Contact tower on 122.25.
Descend and maintain 3,500 feet. Tower on 122.25 BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055. Tower BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 18 miles southwest inbound ILS runway 2 left approach circle to land runway 20 right.
7055 Bravo Alpha 7055 Tower. Cleared ILS, runway 2 left approach. QNH 29er, 2 wind 270 at 7. BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055. Did you hear my last transmission?
Cleared ILS runway 2 left approach BA 7055 Bravo Alpha
Singapore Airport
7055.
information, Yankee 0700 Zulu.
Cleared ILS
Wind
runway 2 left
270 at
approach
7.
BA 7055
Visibility,
Bravo Alpha
niner.
7055.
Sky condition, few clouds of 2005. Singapore Airport
Okay,
information,
right,
Yankee
coming in for the
0700
final then.
Wind 270 at 7.
Flaps check, so we can go
Visibility, niner.
probably flaps
Sky condition, few clouds of 2,500 feet.
2 now.
Temperature, 15. Dew point, 13. QNH 29.92. ILS runway 20 center and ILS
So the
runway
wind is,
20 right in use. Landing
interestingly,
departing runway
we've got a little bit of
20 center,
tailwind.
Runway 20 right. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact. You have Yankee.
Okay, so all seems to be going quite well. Now what we need to do is just have a look at the charts. Right, how are we doing then? Coming up to undercarriage down. Glide slope is not captured. Oh, I don't think this is going well. We should have been at 2,500 feet by now. Oh no. We can do this. That's the problem. I didn't click approach. It's on the checklist too. Oh, this isn't going to work. can't believe it. I've come all this way and I'm going to... No. We're missed. Stage flap away.
1,000.
Gear is up. We're going round.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
Flap, flap, flaps.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
So we're to climb
Too
to
low,
1,000
terrain.
feet.
Too low, terrain. 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 Too low, terrain.
Oh
Too
no.
low, terrain.
BA
Too low, terrain.
7055 Bravo Alpha,
Too low,
7055,
terrain.
cleared to land runway
Too
20
low,
right.
terrain.
When
Too
270
low,
is 7.
terrain. Too low, terrain. Too
We
low,
need this
terrain.
autopilot off, don't we?
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
There we
Too
go.
low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
BA 7055 Bravo Alpha, 7055. Did you hear my last transmission? BA 7055 Bravo Alpha, 7055. Acknowledge last transmission.
All gone very wrong.
Clear to land runway 20 right BA 7055 Bravo Alpha 7055.
Right, missed approach then. That didn't go well. I don't think that's the airport I was supposed to land at. Perhaps it was. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah. Let's see if we can't fix this. It's all going to happen a bit too quick.
Too low. Terrain.